Now I'm at the point you wanna be with me. I'm vibing out at a higher frequency, cause everything that I want and I'm gonna be is when I wake up, that's when I start to dream. Someone you love is talking down, here is the plan. Let it fall through like a handful of sand. Nothing happens overnight, what you must understand. If you dwell on the bad, then you don't stand a chance. Something you want upset, saying why it ain't mine yet. That's because now you have yet to change your mindset. People don't put their mind to rest while they're so wired. A lot of people go to sleep and wake up tired. Power of positivity and persistence. Say that I can, we'll just sit back and witness. Make an impact when our time is done. Make money, help people, and have lots of fun. Whoa.
Welcome to Office Hours, hosted by legendary sports executive, entrepreneur, and investor David Meltzer, where the brightest millionaires, billionaires, and entrepreneurs in business, sports, and entertainment get together to talk about success, failure, and everything in between.
You have the responsibility of providing value to them.
Take a deep dive into the mind of some of the world's most impactful guests.
Really, the goal isn't to be disciplined. The goal is for it to be intuitive.
To share their strategies and tools to dominate their respective fields.
Just decided I'm going to prove them wrong because I feel like this is progressive. This is something that is new and different.
David Meltzer hosts Office Hours.
Sure will. Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Amelia. Quickly setting the room here. Happy Friday,
Hey
everyone.
everyone, welcome. Today's Friday training is the habit machine. We're going to talk about habits and behaviors. And as soon as Jake gets this thing coordinated, come on in here. It's Friday training. It's Fired Up Friday. Get fired up for training. I'm going to teach all the secrets of the most powerful thing that I have, which is habits. So thank you, everyone. And as soon as Jake, like I said, gets going here, we should be good. And looking at it, remember, put in your questions. So I'll be doing about a 30-minute training on habits, and then I will be taking questions. So put them in on all the different platforms. Ask me your questions on the importance of habits, how to create habits, all the great things about habits and behaviors. So very excited to have everyone here. Thank you so much for joining us. And here we go. All right. Well, thank you, Jake. You know, it's so interesting because I want to talk about the importance of habits when my mission is to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our own potential. I think understanding potential is directly relative and related to creating the behaviors or the habits that get us there faster. And so we all have different skills, knowledge, and desire, and aligning the skills and knowledge and desire to what we want is essential, and being okay detaching from an outcome that, you know, our skills, knowledge, and desires may not be as aligned or synergistic with our pursuit as other people. And that's okay. It's not a competition. Competition will steal your joy. But in order to effectuate the biggest deltas in our life, and that's what we're here for, is to learn the lessons, to create the progress that we want. It's interesting that we can't be aware of progress. And so that's the biggest inhibitor to habits, is that we don't see progress. It takes a long time to see progress. And that's because there's 3 characteristics of habits, and they're actually the same as the characteristics, the energy, because habits are energy. What you do is an energy, what you say is an energy, what you think is an energy, what you believe is an energy, and what you feel is an energy. And these 3 characteristics of energy allow us as a habit machine to effectuate progress and to get results or outcomes that are better than we could even anticipate, to extend or expand us into a world of more than enough, beyond what other people think is possible or probable, or even within the realm of their perspective. And so it's really important to take a step back out of habits, because if all we want to do is create a habit, we're going to be stuck a lot of the time, because progress is something that we're incapable of being aware of. And so in order to allow progress to happen, we should focus in on creating a habit machine based off of the 3 characteristics of energy. And when we put faith or attention and intention into energy, we will know that we do get instantaneous results from good behaviors, or behaviors that are in a trajectory of what we think we want, with that open mind, open heart, and open hands, and utilizing all of this energetic understanding in order to progress. So what are those 3 characteristics that fuel the habit machine? The first characteristic is the aggregation of behavior, the aggregation of energy, the aggregation of, if we do things in a trajectory of what we think we want, more people, more ideas, more coincidences of other things doing for us the same thing, we'll be attracting more of the same doing. When we say things in that trajectory, we will be aggregating or attracting more of the same. When we think it, we will be attracting more of those thoughts and more people that have those thoughts. Understanding why this happens is the aggregation is part of a unified, abundant, infinite system of thought. And when we believe something, we'll be attracting more of those beliefs. And when we feel something, when we put our energy in motion and have an emotion of confidence or coincidence or inspiration or motivation, we'll be, under the energetic principle of aggregation, attracting more of that. And it aggregates on itself, which provides us a better likelihood of getting to where we want to be or better. The second characteristic of the habit machine and the behaviors that aggregate is that things that aggregate compound. And so when we start attracting more and aggregating more of what we want in a trajectory of what we think we want, it actually gives us a exponential result, because aggregation and compounding are 2 of the 3 characteristics of the habit machine, of the behaviors. And it gives us more faith and allows us to be more aware of the progress in order to continue to aggregate and exponentially allow us to continue what? The enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our own potential. The one thing, if we don't see progress or hear progress or feel progress or touch progress, if we can't be aware of progress, we all feel stuck. And when we feel stuck and feel resistance and we get disappointed and we get frustrated and anxious and worried, that it's never going to happen. Because we live in what? We live in a period each day of linear time, of 24 hours of time. And if we can't create a measurement, a quantitative measurement of our efforts, of our behaviors, of our habits, the statistical likelihood is that we will not enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential, we will quit. And when we quit, we've done nothing but waste our time, emotion, energy, value, and relationships that we've aggregated and compounded towards a trajectory of what we think we wanted. And so to raise or heighten our faith that good behaviors, good habits progress by aggregation and attraction and compounding in an exponentiality allows us to continue and build on this idea that we can enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our potential. And we'll get into the habit machine and how we build a habit machine of what we want, not what other people want, what's missing or what we don't have. Because the last thing we want to do is aggregate what's missing, what we don't have, or what other people want for us. And that's what a lot of people do. So you have the people that don't have faith and they live their lives like tubes, food in, food out, because they can't be aware of progress, because they don't understand the characteristics of energy, behavior, and even money does this. Anything that's energy, of what we do, say, think, believe, and feel, aggregating on itself, attracting more of it, and compounding in its impact and effect, giving us an exponential differentiator, a delta that others don't experience. Now, the third characteristic of energy or behavior within the context of fueling this habit machine is one in which actually helps us not feel stuck. It actually raises our vibration or frequency or our awareness to the progress that is made by behaviors that are aligned with the trajectory of what I think I want. And this last characteristic is acceleration. So not only when we have behaviors that are, by the way, cohesively tied to meanings that we give it. Behaviors have meanings in them. And the meanings are not just the meaning of what we think we want in the future, but it also is part and parcel to the meanings that we give defining moments, inflection points, relativity of historical events, failures, setbacks, and mistakes of our past. And so when we can give the meaning aligned with the trajectory of what we think we want and appropriately be consistent and persistent and enjoy the pursuit of our potential, we're capable of accelerating better outcomes. Notice I say better outcomes because people are always conflicted by the counterintuitive nature of outcomes. They don't understand how you can, like Michael Singer wrote in Surrender Experiment, surrender or let it go or allow outcomes to happen. Well, you only do that by knowing that your free will is driven by your desire, which creates the deeds, which creates your destiny. And when we can understand that we have a better destiny because we don't know what we don't know, and although we are completely consistent and persistent in the pursuit of our potential, our trajectory of what we think we want every single day, utilizing time in the most efficient, effective, and statistically successful way with productivity, providing more value in an aggregate and a compounding and accelerating way, and the accessibility to multitudes of people and the ability to receive and gratitude, finding more light, more love, and more lessons to once again continue the three characteristics of energy that fuel the habit machine. When we can do all of these things, meaning is inherently inside of the activities that we have planned, don't have planned in our sleep, activities we get paid for and don't have paid for that drive us to the delta, the differentiator from our skills and our knowledge to our desire. That's the delta of the habit machine. From where we are, skills and knowledge, to where that desire turns to our destiny. And that destiny is not what we think it's going to be. It's going to be better. Knowing, of course, there's something bigger than us, the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that creates the unified, infinite system of thought that we're all part and parcel to, allowing us to create a habit machine that accelerates, aggregates, and compounds on itself. This is how we can create an awareness via faith that we are progressing in the right trajectory, not the wrong trajectory, that we're not creating more void, shortages, and obstacles or resistance to what we think we need. This is the secret of the habit machine, the fuel of the habit machine, to understand the three characteristics of energy and knowing that behavior is energy. So how do we build, now that we know how to fuel, a habit machine that allows us each day to prioritize and apply our why to each of the behaviors so that the appropriate behaviors aggregate, compound, and accelerate upon themselves? Well, the first step of the habit machine is to know what you want each day. Know what you desire each day so that you can choose what deeds to create each day. To use that free will to create the deeds today to create the destiny that we think we want tomorrow. And if you know what you want, there's 4 different weighted balances each day, and they shouldn't be balanced. They're weighted balance. Some days it should be 90% personal. So my desires today are personal, and those are going to lead me in a trajectory to what I think I want. Or it may be 90% experiential. Or it may be 90% giving. Or it may be 90% receiving. But each day, what I want is aligned with a trajectory of what I think I want in the future. And they should be coordinated with non-negotiables to allow us to use the aggregation, compounding, and acceleration in its most mathematical, advantageous way. And so if we think about our non-negotiables, I'll share mine and you make up yours. But my number one non-negotiable is my health. If I'm healthy, I get as many wishes and desires that I want. If I'm unhealthy, I only get one wish or one desire. And so I make a non-negotiable based on today in a trajectory of what I think I want in the future, which is to live a happy, healthy, long life so that I can be of service and value and impact over 1 billion people to do the same. But knowing how time is the energy of behavior and sets forth a man-made construct of how to utilize today in its most efficient, effective, and statistically successful way, I know that my time will aggregate, compound, and accelerate. So I spend a minimum amount of time every day on my health and the trajectory of living a long, happy, and healthy life, to have as many desires as I want, to do as many deeds as I want in order to create a better destiny than I want. And so most people don't take the attention and intention on the what of personal, experiential, giving, and receiving, and give it the weighted balance for the day in the context of the day with the activities you have planned, don't have planned, sleep, activities you get paid for and don't get paid for. And so I want people to realize that the habit machine first starts or turns on when you determine what your desire for the day is to create a destiny that you think you want. And if you know your what, instead of living like a tube, food in, food out each day, instead of living in the world of nothingness, stuck all the time, knowing that you can't change directions, you can't learn if you're not moving. And so in order to get moving, in order to take the desire, that free will, and turn it into the deeds, which are turned into destiny, or the desire that turns into behaviors or habits that turns into your destiny, we must know our what. And the minute that you know your what, the minute you know what you want experientially or personally or giving and receiving, the minute you know what you want, that nothingness turns to a possibility. Now the habit machine is turned on. It starts working because now you have a mathematical advantage every day over the tubes out there. You have possibilities every day. And then the next step in the habit machine is to not only know your possibilities by knowing your what, personally, experientially, giving, and receiving, but know your who. And when we know our who can we help with what we want in the trajectory of what we think we want, giving meaning to the inflection points, defining moments of the past, the mistakes, failures, and setbacks of the past. We can determine who we can help, and even equal to who we can help, who can help us, creating a flow, an influence in our life, not an influence, spreading the flu or disease, but an influence by not only helping others, but asking for help so we can help even more people. And when we know our who and the trajectory of what we think we want, that possibility of knowing our what turns into another mathematical advantage. It turns into a probability. So now my desires from nothingness turns into these deeds or actions or activities that will help other people and that we get help with, in order to effectuate a mathematical advantage, as the habit machine not only is turned on to possibilities, but warmed up to probabilities. And then the next step in building our habit machine is knowing how. Now, within the context of the habit machine, there's 3 different lenses. And I want you to think about it like the optometrist's office, that machine where you hook your eyes up to, and they have all the little letters and across the little board, and they turn the different lenses to see if you have 20/10, 20/20, or 20/40 or 40/40 vision, whatever it may be, to see if you need contact glasses or some LASIK surgery. Well, in order to take our probabilities of knowing our who and making it our perspective, if we can look and see through 3 lenses, one, a lens of productivity, of all the activity in today, the 24 hours of today, through a lens of how much value can I provide? How productive can I be with what I want and who I can help and who can help me? This now allows the aggregation, the compounding, and the acceleration to take place through the first lens of productivity, of the activities I planned. How productive can I be with activities I don't have planned, what I call non-time? So I'm studying my time. I'm studying my calendar, not only for how efficient, effective, and statistically successful I can be with the activities I have planned, but I'm looking at the non-time for when everyone in my home is sleeping, or when everyone's getting ready, or driving time, or any non-time that I can infuse with values of my behaviors to exponentially and accelerate those behaviors and aggregate them, when most people are wasting not only activities they have planned, but activities they don't have planned, and especially their sleep. Sleep represents a 30-year life. It's about 26 years on average for most people. I've had a sleep coach for 17 years to effectuate the aggregation, compounding, and acceleration of recovery and access while I'm sleeping, to make sure that I'm in a position of recovery and access. I pay attention and give intention to the karma, coincidence, and consequences that I want, not only in the activity that I have planned, which is obvious to most people, even though they don't utilize it as part of their habit machine, but also the non-time, the activities that I don't have planned, and my sleep. And I don't categorize it as personal time or professional time, or God forbid, that resistant word called work, which sounds so hard to me, and resistant full. I just have activity I get paid for and activity I don't get paid for. And when I know my how with the lens of productivity, I then turn the optometrist eye test from a lens of productivity to a lens of accessibility. And I review now the coincidences, consequences, and karma that's created by giving attention and intention to the utilization of my how, the time that I have, the 24 hours that I've been given each day in man-made constructive time, to figure out how accessible am I to others? How much am I participating in the unified, abundant, infinite system of thought in the context of the man-made constructive time that I've been given each day for the activities I plan, don't have planned, and my sleep? The lens of accessibility not only is a confirmation of that unified, abundant, infinite system of thought, which we're all participating in, to be accessible to others in their thoughts, but also to receive, so that we are overflowing, so that we can also provide more deeds to create a greater destiny for not just ourselves, but for others. And as we then turn the lens again at the optometrist's office to the third lens of how, to make our nothingness a possibility by knowing our what, and turning it into a probability by knowing our who, and now to make it our perspective, the last perspective, participation in that perspective lens, is called gratitude. Gratitude allows this machine to aggregate, accelerate, and compound itself by finding the light, the love, and the lessons in all the activities that we have in the man-made construct of time. The activities we have planned, we find gratitude, the light, the love, and the lessons in what we have planned. The activity we don't have planned, the non-time, we're finding light, love, and lessons in that, and even our sleep, which then just creates more activities that are aligned with what we think we want, all as the destiny of what we want or think we want or better in the future. And this habit machine takes the energy with the outcome of aggregation, compounding, and acceleration of the energy that we put into it. And it allows us to have a different perspective through the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and of course, gratitude. And as we go from living our lives like tubes, living in a world of nothingness, and now creating our habit machine with every day, knowing our what in a trajectory of what we think we want or better, by giving meaning to the past, the mistakes, failures, setbacks of the past, the defining moments, traumas of our past. And now we are aggregating with knowing our what, a possibility, allowing us to know our who, a probability, and finally creating a perspective for the day of how through the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. And the fourth component of the habit machine is the confirmation of reality. It's one thing to have possibilities in your day. It's another to have probabilities in your day. And of course, it's very important to have the right perspective of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. But the fourth component of the habit machine is the materialization, the manifestation, the reality of the machine. It is a key component in utilizing the man-made construct of time, of getting what you want in the trajectory of what you think you want or better. It's knowing your now. This is where most people fall down. Most people not only are tubes, but they live in a world of procrastination because they don't know the what, the who, and the how. Or worse, they live in abundance. They actually subconsciously, unconsciously believe that they are part of a unified, abundant, infinite system of thought, but they feel overwhelmed. They don't recognize, recollect, remember that they live in that system, that they live in abundance, that there's more than enough of everything for everyone. So they have too many options, opportunities, and touches of favor. And instead of knowing their now by knowing their what, their who, and their how, they're overwhelmed. Prioritization is the antidote to not only feeling procrastination as a tube, but feeling overwhelmed in the abundant state of knowing your what, your who, and your how. As you grow, aggregate, accelerate, and compound your trajectory, your destiny, by creating the right desires with the right deeds to create a better destiny. And as you do so and know and learn to know your now, one other aspect happens. What 100% of the things you do now get done, which gives you not only efficiency, but statistical success, because you don't forget to do it when you're doing it now. But even better than doing it now is you know you're next, which creates efficiencies and statistical success as well. If you know how to prioritize what you have planned and what you don't have planned, when things change, you will get a aggregation, compounding, and acceleration to what you think you want or better. And then finally, before we take Q&A, the fifth component of the habit machine is to know and apply your why. See, most people are living in not enough or just enough. They're either victims where everything happens to them, or they're buying things they don't need to be happy, more things to be happy, different things to be happy, or buying things they don't need to impress people they don't like to be happy. And when they're in the realm of just enough, everything's a trade and negotiation. You're living in a zero-sum game, always trying to get more, attaching your emotions to an outcome, and not putting your attention and intention on your desires and deeds to create a destiny better than you can think. And so they're trying to get more happy, more healthy, more wealthy, and more worthy with no faith. But if you have the what, the who, the how, the now, and the next, if you know what you want, who you can help, who can help you, how to get it done, and prioritize according to you, you will realize that you are part of a system, a unified system, an infinite abundant system that was created and is powered by an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves you more than your mom. So you are not punished. You're not living in a zero-sum game, buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like, trading, negotiating everything in your life, including giving, where I give more to receive. Instead, you will live in a world of more than enough, applying your why, applying your desire to aggregate, accelerate, and compound your deeds as well as your destiny. By knowing you're happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy, and figuring out what you're doing to interfere with it. Forget trying to create habits, create a habit machine so that the behaviors of each day are aggregating, compounding, and accelerating to a destiny that you never dreamed of. I promise you that this is how we learn how to surrender. Get rid of the conflictual, counterintuitive nature of surrendering, of letting it go, and know that I'm going to create the desire, the free will for the deeds that best suit the destiny or better that I want each day. Learning the light, the love, and the lessons to improve, compound, and accelerate and aggregate even more. If you want to live in that world, that system of abundance, an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-knowing source that protects and promotes you at all time, then help yourself by creating the habit machine. I would love to send everyone that habit machine here, all the platforms, all the people that have taken the time this morning. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Know your what, your who, your how, your now, and apply your why in the man-made construct of time to create a destiny better than you've ever dreamed by aggregating, compounding, and accelerating your desires, your deeds, and your destiny. All right. Thank you so much. Jakey Bakey, reset the room. We're loaded up with questions on all the platforms. So just let me know where to go and I'll pull up the Q&A.
That was incredible, Dave. Thank you so much for the habit machine training. As Dave mentioned too, if anyone would like that guide, just feel free to email David. His email is david@dmeltzer.com. david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you so much, Dave. We got 28 minutes here for some questions. So if anyone has a question they'd like to ask, just feel free to raise your hand here on Clubhouse or back channel me. Dave, I'll pass it back over to you to take a question online, and then we'll bring up Monica here on Clubhouse.
All right, let's start here. What is something that people have told you about habits that you found isn't true? That it's difficult to form a habit. It's not. You could have a habit of sitting and doing nothing. That's not difficult to form. What's difficult is getting from 0 to 1. In fact, I believe it takes as much desire, deeds to get from 0 to 1 that it does from 1 to 100. And so getting started is what's difficult, not the habits themselves. Habits, they're easy. What's hard is to align your habits with the trajectory or destiny that you think you want, because you can't see progress. So most people will quit. They will quit before they get to 1. by not starting through procrastination or feeling overwhelmed. And so I am a big, in the habit machine context, I'm a big proponent of, hey, let's look at time to understand what you want and lower the bar and give a minimum of 2 minutes a day to something so you can get to 0 to 1. Because 2 minutes a day equals more than 2 hours on a Saturday. And so habits are not hard. You have them. The thing is, good habits create consistent, persistent pursuit. Bad habits naturally are consistent, persistent, and pursuing because you don't expect a result. What makes it difficult to understand habits is that most people attach their attention and intention on the outcome, not on the 5 components of the habit machine or the enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent pursuit of their potential. So that's the one thing I think people don't understand, because they live in linear time. They attach their emotions to an outcome, and they think that habits are difficult to form. No, good habits take consistent, persistent behavior, and we have to be a little bit more aware of what we want to aggregate, how we want to compound and accelerate those habits. Because negative, I see it all the time that, because we don't expect results from bad behaviors or unintentional behaviors, I should call them. There's no good or bad in my world, but unintentional behaviors. It's the intention that is most important, because I have so many people like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years. There's been no outcome, no negative outcome from doing this for 20 years or not doing this for 20 years. And then in year 21, the aggregate effect, the compounding and acceleration, and all of a sudden, you're divorced, you lost your job, you're broke, you have cancer, some kind of aggregation acceleration that you didn't want because you weren't intentional about what you did want, and you allowed the behaviors that were accelerating in the wrong trajectory to aggregate compound because they were unintentional behaviors instead of intentional. It's the intention that we have to add to the attention to eat the consequences, the coincidences, and the karma in our life. Great questions. I appreciate that question. Jake, where do we want to go now?
Let's go here on Clubhouse. Let's bring up Monica. Monica, if you want to unmute yourself, and welcome to the room.
Sure. Hey, David. Good to hear your voice again.
Great to hear yours.
I know you're a big proponent of A Course in Miracles. Of course, that's why we met. I also want to just share or ask you, there are the spiritual principles that you live by. And sometimes I think there's a disconnect between your spiritual principles and your daily action steps. It's kind of like, I've seen a lot of people, I've been in that world for a long time, seen a lot of people kind of bypass the deeper work they need to do in order to really have these bigger shifts. And really, it's a shift in identity to step out of what you were just talking about, I believe, where we're stopped or where things aren't going the way we thought they should. And we're in a state of being stuck in some aspect of our life. In that moment, a lot of people just go to the spiritual when in fact it's not just that. Can you speak to that? Like, it's not just the inner work that you have to do, but it's also, I know you're very big on taking action steps and being clear about what your action steps are leading you to. So that's what I speak about.
I love that. And yes, I studied the Course in Miracles every day. I've started to study the Bhagavad Gita every day, which was a precursor even to the Course in Miracles of Sanskrit ancient lessons that are quite applicable to the coinciding or reconciliation of the 5 intentions. And so if formulatically, I believe that what I focus in on, what I pay attention to with an A, and then looking at the 5 levels of intention, which reconcile the energetic, genetic, and the inertia or the actions. So what are the 5 levels of intention, and how do they reconcile what the universe provides in a spiritual way as well as in a pragmatic way? Intention has 5 components with different frequencies or vibrations. The lowest frequency is what we do. So some people live their life like Camus' The Stranger, like the myth of Sisyphus. They push a boulder to the top of the hill each day, extreme action, right? They're the people who tell you, I'll outwork anybody, right? John Henry killed himself, beating the steam engine through a mountain. I'm aging myself, by the way. You can look up who that was. More importantly, our actions are at this lower frequency of, what we do. So the first thing we want to make sure is that we're doing everything we can in the man-made constructs to get to where we think we want or better. And most people that just do are going to feel stuck, because when we do, we expect to get a result instantaneously or see progress instantaneously, and that's impossibility of mathematics. 2, as we elevate the frequency from what we do, another action that we have to take is what we say. Right? I know I tell this story about talking to water and how that, what we say has a vibration or frequency, and that vibration or frequency has an impact on the karma, coincidences, consequences in our life. The third level of intention is now getting more spiritual, which is what we think. So the other two, what we do exists in the speed of light, right? The amount of time it takes from a particle of light to get to Earth. And that's the basis of the clock, the man-made construct of time. And then we get to the higher frequency of voice, of what we say. Then we get to a higher frequency, which starts to tap into the spirit, which is thought, because the speed of thought is exponentially faster than the speed of sound, and of course, the speed of light. And utilizing the reconciliation of all three as intention, that I not only have to do everything in the trajectory of what I think I want, say everything in the trajectory of what I think I want, but think it as well. And there's so many religious and spiritual texts that talk about the power of thought. And whatever is your favorite, I agree with it. Then there becomes another one that is really more spiritual, which deals with the genetic and energetic inheritance that we've received, and accumulation of, or aggregation, compounding, and acceleration of what we do, say, and think, which is how we form our beliefs. And beliefs are an automatic system that we have. It incorporates our subconscious and our unconscious to effectuate what we do, say, and think. And so that part of intention is in a spiritual nature, in spirit, of a genetic, energetic, subconscious, and unconscious quantum behavior called belief. And so that we want to raise our awareness of what our beliefs are by looking or analyzing or being aware of the meaning that we give the past and the meaning we give our future by how we do, say, and think things in the present. And we have the power to give meaning to everything that we see, the past and the present, knowing that the only two generative places where fear is created, the regret and guilt of the past or the anxiety and worry of the future, is part of that meaning. And so we want to limit that meaning of fear, whether it be regret or guilt of the past, or whether it be anxiety or worry of the future. We want to minimize that in the quantitative aspect of time to minutes and moments each day. But to reconcile and coordinate the spiritual with the pragmatic, we can start seeing the relativity and relationship and recollection and remembrance between everything we do, say, think, and believe. And then as a confirmation, the fifth level of intention is energy in motion, of how, in what trajectory are we aggregating, compounding, and accelerating. They're called emotions, energy in motions, how we feel, which is the basis of my entire mission of reconciling what we do, say, think, believe, and feel, so that people live in abundance and happiness by making a lot of money in abundance, to help a lot of people in abundance, and have a lot of fun and be happy in abundance. And so as a core understanding of intention, we can now reconcile, remember, and recollect with Source, the unified, abundant, infinite system of thought that is omniscient, all-powerful, and all-knowing, that loves us and protects and promotes us more than our mom would even, and knows more than our mom. So therefore, in order to reconcile, remember, recollect this abundance of spirituality reconciled with the deeds to create the destiny, we have to reconcile all 5 of those intentions in order to apply them to the attention of what we think we want in order to what? Manifest or materialize coincidences, consequences, or karma that we want or better. And I teach people that. I know a lot of people are asking, I do these Friday trainings, 23 years. I have a group of people we meet on Mondays. I have a wait list for one-on-one. I can teach you the intricacies of how to apply your why, which is applying that inspiration to your daily activities that will aggregate, accelerate, and compound in a trajectory of what you want, even applicable to money, because money is an energy just like behavior. Money can actually be put through the habit machine and get the same exponential results like a vending machine, an exponential vending machine. Thank you, Monica, so much. Jake, reset the room and let's take another question.
Resetting the room. Thank you so much, Monica. This is the Breakfast for Champions. David Meltzer training. Has been doing training for over 23 years. Today's training is focused on the habit machine. If anyone would like David's habit machine training and guide, you can just email him. His email is david@dmeltzer.com. david@dmeltzer.com. Let's continue to share the room here on Clubhouse. You can do that at the bottom. There's an arrow with a square. You push that, you can share the room on Clubhouse, on Twitter, Facebook, all the other social media platforms. So let's continue to share the room. And Dave, I'll pass it back over to you if you want to take a question online, and then we'll come back to take a question from Melissa here on Clubhouse.
I love it. So I like this question here. So how can we implement the habit machine, or how do we utilize the habit machine to minimize fear of the future? Well, it can minimize fear of the future or fear of the past. And what we want to do is understand that when we feel fear, that we are, our minds, our bodies, and our soul on fire. And so what we want to do is understand, how can we spend minutes and moments in fear of the past or fear of the future? Well, the first step is we need to practice identifying and utilizing fear. So we have to practice identifying. What makes it easier for me within the context of the habit machine to identify fear is to know there's only 2 things I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of the past, or I'm afraid of the future. That's all there it can be. And so I know that the majority of the time, the fear of the past is creating a feeling of regret or guilt, and the fear of the future is creating a feeling of worry or anxiety. And now, when I just start by practicing identifying, okay, I feel regretful, guiltful, I feel anxious or worried, instead of doing what most people do in an intuitive state of emotion, is they start to use logic and reason to control a feeling. These are not related. The intuition and gut that you have, the emotions that you feel, are not related to logic or reason. And therefore, all you're doing is wasting your time, emotion, value, money, and relationships trying to out-logic, out-analyze, out-reason an emotion. It doesn't work. I tell people all the time, intuition or feelings is just your way of indicating you need to raise your awareness to find clues, look for patterns, and make better choices. It has nothing to do with logic, reason, or analysis. And yet, the majority of the people on earth, including me, for years and years and years, spend days, weeks, months, and years in fear because they try to out-logic, out-reason, or analyze emotions or feelings, gut feelings, intuition, whatever it may be, thinking that somehow, carried within the context of intuition, carried in the context of emotion, is some sort of logic, reason, or analysis. It's not. All it is indicating to you that you should raise your awareness to find clues, like love and lessons, to create patterns or look for patterns to make better choices in alignment with what you think you want in a trajectory of where you want, so that that will aggregate, compound, and accelerate to where you want to be using the habit machine. And so the first step is to practice identifying fear of the past and fear of the future. Knowing that when you have that intuition, that intuitive feeling, emotion of fear, that you can't logic, reason, or analyze it. You just have to stop. This is the idea of surrendering. This is the idea of letting it go, is that when I'm in the ego-based consciousness with the subcategorization of these two fears, fear of the past and fear of the future, when I'm in that ego-based consciousness of a need to be right, a need to be offended, a need to be superior, a need to be inferior, a need to be separate, a need to be anxious, a need to be frustrated, a need to be angry, a need to be resentful, a need to be worried. Sounds like most people's lives, doesn't it? But instead of spending days, weeks, months, and years in fear, what we can do is practice identifying fear of the past, fear of the future. And instead of using logic, reasons, and analysis, which is a waste of effing time, you can just stop and breathe through your nose and out through your mouth, and then remind to the unified system of thought. Remember the unified system of thought. Recollect with the unified system of thought. What do I want today? Who can I help today? Who can help me today? How best can I be productive, accessible, and gracious today? What should I do now today? What should I do next today? How should I prioritize today? And apply your why. And roll in that trajectory and allow those behaviors to aggregate, compound, and accelerate instead of allowing fear to aggregate, accelerate, and compound, trying to use a non-reconciliatory solution called logic, reason, or analysis to something that is emotional, a higher vibration that has no impact from the reasons, from the logic, the analysis that you give. Just raise your awareness to being afraid. Let it indicate to you that you can find clues and use your logic with the clues. You can find patterns and use your logic and reasoning and analysis on the patterns to make better choices each day in a trajectory of what you think you want. It's so easy to practice identifying fear of the past and fear of the future and remembering when my mind, my body, and soul are on fire and my intuition is set off, I am not going to use logic, reason, and analysis. I'm just going to stop, drop, and roll. Because that's what we do when we're on fire. Stop, drop, and roll. This to me is at the core of applying my why, of knowing what do I do to interfere with the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, unified, infinite, abundant system of thought that I'm part and parcel to, being protected by it and promoted by it and indicated to it by the pain, by the fear of the past and the future, and the subcategorization of the needs of the ego, which also will help clarify how I can find the clues, the patterns, and the choices. This is the core. So many people ask me, I'm 55 years old. How do you have so much energy? I can't keep up with you. Oh my God, you have the same energy I have. I just have figured out what and how to do and not interfere with it. I live my life at ease with desire, deeds, and destiny aligned with where I think I want to be. Clearing the interference, clearing the path so that it's easy. I'm at ease. I recognize dis-ease in minutes and moments instead of days, weeks, months, and years. I live at ease in flow, not in flu. Don't live in flu. Don't live in dis-ease for days, weeks, months, and years. Live in flow, at ease, identifying the dis-ease, the fear of the past and the fear of the future, and stop, drop, and roll when you identify it. Intuition has no logic, reason, or analysis as part of it. So use the infinite system of thought in order to effectuate a better trajectory that aggregates, accelerates, and compounds. Do you want your fear to aggregate? Do you want your fear to compound? Do you want your fear to accelerate? Because it will. When you don't know what you want, who you can help you, how to get it done, and prioritize what's now and next, and apply your why, all you're doing is wanting what other people want for you, what you don't want or what you don't have. And those energies will also aggregate, compound, and accelerate and put you farther away from where you want to be. You'll feel more overwhelmed, more procrastination, and more stuck. That's not what I want. That's not what you want. All right, Jakey of the Bakey. It looks like we got 7 minutes, the lucky 7 left. What do you got for me, my friend? Oh, by the way, if anybody wants the Habit Machine, david@dmeltzer.com. I also will sign a book, send it to you, pay for the book and shipping as well with that habit machine. So just let me know. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com.
Hey, Dave, I always want to say thanks for your book and all your content. I've enjoyed it all over the years. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right on, brother. Thank you. Share it.
You got it, Donnie. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, you mentioned we got 7 minutes, so let's get as much as we can in the last 7 minutes. Let's bring up Melissa Lance. Welcome, Melissa. What is your question today?
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, David. Can you guys hear me okay?
Love it. Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. David, I have a question about team development. How do I transfer my think, say, feel, do, and believe my intent to my team? What are some tips, tools, or techniques that you can give me there to help transfer my intent to my team in an effort and a goal to transfer this to our organization?
Oh, I love it. Well, first of all, understand that people don't listen to you. And so what you have to do is start understanding what they're listening for. So all great leaders are intelligent followers. Part of the reason I do meetups in every city that I go to, and I'll be going blessed next week with some of the great entrepreneurials like Belfort and Vaynerchuk and Lee, Clinton Sparks. We're all going to be in Dubai. And some of my friends will be speaking to, and I'll be listening for. And I know that people won't be listening to, but if I know what they're listening for, I can meet them where they're at as an intelligent follower. I can do the work of attention and intention on what they're listening for so that they can learn what they're listening for, which is a much easier thing. People will resist what people want and speak to them. And kids, they won't even listen to you. They'll just watch you, even if you know what they're listening for. So be an intelligent follower. Learn to know what they're listening for and meet them where they're at by asking them open-ended questions and then utilizing closed-ended questions to determine their emotions about what they're doing today and what they like and what they don't like, and suggest to them, would it help you if, and also ask them for help. Do you know anyone that can help me? I have a template of transitory statements that allow us to learn how to be intelligent followers, how to meet people, our teams, our friends, our relatives, our family, where they're at. And then being more interested than interesting, clearing the interference, not just between us and the unified, abundant, infinite system of thought, but us and others as well, who are also part and parcel of the unified, abundant, infinite system of thought. Elevating the awareness by understanding where people are at and what they're listening for allows us to create a neighborhood, a consciousness, a frequency. And your frequency is your neighborhood, and your business is your neighborhood. And being aware of the frequency that you're creating within the context of your neighborhood, your business, by meeting people where they're at and being an intelligent follower and being more interested than interesting and being kind to your future self and asking open-ended questions and getting to the emotional aspects that are aggregating, compounding, and accelerating, and helping people form their habit machines and deciding what they want in the trajectory of what they think they want according to not only their person, but their experiences of giving and receiving, which are inclusive of your business. Be an intelligent follower, meet people where they're at, listen for what they're listening for. Don't speak to them, but speak of what they're listening for. And you will find the aggregation, acceleration, compounding of what you want as a company, who you can help as a company, who can help you as a company, how best to be productive, accessible, and gracious as a company, and prioritize as a company, aligned with each other to apply your why and be inspired each day in the activity that you get paid for. That is a fantastic question, especially for today. Melissa, thank you so much for having the courage to help everyone by asking the question that everyone else was thinking. I appreciate it. Jake, I got time for one more question. 3 minutes left. What and where do you want me to go, my dear friend?
Let's do it. Let's take the last question online, Dave, with the 3 minutes we have left.
Okie dokie. I got so many to choose from. Now, I want to tell everyone, if I didn't get to you, because we got hundreds of them, if I didn't get to your question, email me. Right? Not only email me for the Habit Machine or my book or guide, I'll sign it and send it, you pay for shipping in the book. Email me if you want me to answer these questions as well. Join our free Friday trainings, listen to the replay, join our Monday groups. Please just reach out. I'm here to be of service or value. All right, here we go. What are the steps one can take to be strong psychologically in stressful situations such as trading? Wow. Well, remember, you're giving meaning to everything that you see. So first, you have to change the meaning of your situation. When you utilize radical humility in situations that are causing dis-ease or stress, like trading, and I have coached a lot of Wall Street guys and still do. One of my great success stories is, of course, Craig Siegel, who has learned how to identify the dis-ease that he was creating by giving meaning to a situation that was creating more dis-ease instead of clearing the interference between that activity and the activity that he was giving meaning to. So the first step is to give a different meaning to the situation, to identify what makes it a activity of dis-ease that you can put at ease by utilizing the understanding of the stop, drop, and roll methodology. You give meaning to everything you see. No matter what the stressful situation, there's some situations that don't stress someone out that are literally incapacitating other people. It's because of the meaning that they're giving and the utilization of fear. And so using these practices, you can create more ease in what other people see as a stressful situation. You see this in athletics all the time. You see this in speaking all the time. You see this in so many different activities that some people are at ease at and others are extremely stressed at. Why? Because of the meaning that they give it. You give meaning to everything you see. I give meaning to all of you, past, present, and future. Please reach out to me. I'm on a mission to empower over a billion people by finding 1,000 of you to empower 1,000 to empower 1,000. So share my books, share my exercises, share your content, but email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Jake, please close out the room and hand it off to our friends. I appreciate everyone. Love you. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week.
Will do it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Unbelievable. Email me if you need any help. It's pinned right below. That Habit Machine has changed my life. My book in the story and lessons have changed my life. More than happy to sign it, send it to you, pay for shipping. It doesn't matter. David@dmeltzer.com. Come join me on one of my meetups. I will be in Dubai and Mexico City next week with the amazing Gary Vaynerchuk, Jordan Belfort, Clinton Sparks, John Lee. Thank you, everyone, so much. Join me, but more importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you later. Thank you.